Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our new Children's Laureate, Julia Donaldson. And here to present the Children's Laureate Medal is Anthony Brown.
This feels a bit like the centre court at Wimbledon, except I think I'd be even hotter and sweatier if it really were. Obviously it's a huge honour to be the next Children's Laureate. I have to say that my 6 predecessors, I hope I get them in the right order, Quentin Blake, Anne Fine, Michael Morpurgo, Jacqueline Wilson, Michael Rosen and Anthony Brown are all heroes of mine. So it's exciting and a little bit daunting to step into their shoes or step into their nice medal. And also I'm very proud to be the first Scottish-based Children's Laureate. So I'm going to do lots of events in Scotland, even more than your 6-day tour. So yeah, it is an honour, but it's not really just the sort of honour that you bask in. I'm not quite sure how you do bask in an honour anyway. I'm an expert at basking, but I'm very good. I'm good at basking in the bath, and I get most of my ideas actually when I'm basking in the bath. But no, I'm not going to bask in this honour. As you've heard, gosh, you really have heard it's a very active kind of job. And I got a lovely email from Anne Fine where her main tip was to book 2 very good holidays. So I'm going to do that as well. As you've heard, the Children's Laureate is a spokesperson for the world of children's books and reading. And, I'm prepared to be that. I do have a lot of views as well and some backup information. And I'm hoping that over the next 2 years, I will become a mine of information. And in fact, that is one of the things I'm seriously looking forward to about the job, is just learning myself about all the projects, all the books and ideas and things that are out there in the world of children's books. Because you do get a bit sick when you're an author, and I do get interviewed quite a lot. And it's always about me, and it's about, where did you grow up? Have you got any brothers and sisters? Where did you get the idea for the Gruffalo? And I think I'm going to ban anyone from asking me that question when I'm Children's Laureate. So I'm looking forward to finding out about a whole range of things and rising to challenges that come my way. Now, all of those 6 marvellous predecessors of mine have brought something special to the job. We've had 3 novelists, we've had 2 illustrators, Anthony and Quentin Blake, and we've had a poet, Michael Rosen, who I think is here as well today. So I was thinking, what could I offer of myself to the job? Although I have to say, I also really, really want to reinforce what the others have done, because I think that's so important to have a bit of continuity. It's all too frequent in life that there's some wonderful project, lasts about 3 years, and then we're on to the next thing. And all of them have done very, very good work, and I do intend to draw the public's attention to everything that they've done. But what am I planning to bring of myself to it? Well, I think actually Florella's done half my speech for me, actually, because I was going to tell you all how I come from this background of songwriting and drama. I started my career writing songs, and I've also written plays, and I do these quite dramatic kind of events. So I thought I'd try and bring a touch of drama and music to the role. Actually, I started really doing this dramatising children's books 15 years ago when my first book, A Squash and a Squeeze, came out. That was the book which I remember Florella singing along with David Griffiths on a play school LP. And in fact, you perhaps don't know this, but a woman who had that CD or whatever it was, then tape or LP, and played it endlessly in her car to her children. 10 years later, when her children were growing up, she was working for a publisher, and this song was still kind of going around in her head, and she was looking out for a picture book idea, and she actually approached me and asked if she could make that song into a book. So it's probably thanks to Floella that I've got where I've got. So shortly after that book was published, I was invited to do my first ever school visit. And, I was told, yes, you will come and talk about your work to a class of 7-year-olds. And I found that a bit nerve-wracking. So instead of talking about my work, I decided that we would act out this story. It's a story about a little old lady whose house is too small for her, so she brings in lots of animals, and then it's even worse. But then when they go out again, she realises it's quite big after all, which actually children can't normally understand. They haven't reached that, whatever this psychological age is you have to be to grasp that principle. They can't really understand that when they read the book. But what I did in this school visit was I got the whole class in a big circle being the house. But it was a singing house because we did the chorus, we did the song version. We had a doorway so that the animals could come in. And I cast 4 children as the animals and another child as the wise old man. I was the little old lady in the middle. And so that was a great success. And since then, I've just been doing that kind of thing, not just in schools and libraries, but on stages and at book festivals. And I have now a whole room, actually, full of props and costumes. I brought 2 along. I didn't want... The sleeper carriages are very small. I don't know if any of you have been down on the sleeper from Glasgow. So I couldn't fit a lot of props, but I have brought... I said I didn't want to talk about the Gruffalo, but this is the owl mask. Usually Axel wears this. Axel's a very, very talented owl actor. And also, I think Lydia Monks, one of my other illustrators, might be here, and she hasn't seen this. This is the centipede from my latest book with Lydia, which is called The Rhyming Rabbit, about a very poetic rabbit, but everyone else is very prosaic, including the centipede. So I have got this whole room full of props, but I have to say that for children to act out stories, you don't actually necessarily need a lot of props and costumes. At the Edinburgh Book Festival, which will be quite early on in my 2 years, I'm going to do an event with 2 other children's writers, Viv French and Simon Paddock, and we're going to get a whole group of 10-year-olds to, as kind of workshop. They'll be working on our stories, and then at the end of the session we're going to act them out to the younger brothers and sisters. So I hope to do a lot more events a bit like that, and to enthuse children about acting out stories. I think often it's a new way into books for children. I think it's so good for their self-confidence to act. They seem to love it, so it must be a good thing. Another thing I think about drama is that scripted drama can be a wonderful way of bringing on children's reading. Little play scripts. I discovered this when I used to go and help with the children's reading when I was a mum, and my children went to the local primary school. And I got given a little group of children, and they were supposed to be reading their dreary reading book, and they were sort of doing it like this, in this dirgy kind of voice. And the others were just mucking about. So I started writing these little playlets, really sketches, actually. And I'd get the reading group in a room with me, and I'd cast my little sketch with the more able readers reading the most difficult parts, and the weaker ones reading the other parts. But then we'd swap the parts and we'd read it again and again and again till we'd all read every part. And then we'd go back in the classroom and perform it. And those children so improved in their reading, because they just learnt you need to read with expression. Well, they wanted to read with expression because they were being these characters. So I actually would love it if during my term of office I could persuade and work with an educational publisher, must be some here, to perhaps produce a series of short scripts like that. And perhaps with suggestions for how children might go about writing their own short plays, because I've done a bit of that too when I was working in Easterhouse. And often children do find writing stories quite difficult to create a plot and characters. But, if you write a little play, you've got the story there. You can choose a traditional story and you can just develop those characters and just write the dialogue. You don't have to write about what a lovely day it was and how the daffodils were waving in the breeze and the things children aren't so keen on writing about. So I'd like to encourage children to write plays as well as acting them. Music as well, for me, books and songs are almost inseparable, and I still write songs to go with my books. And when I do author visits, I always get children to make up a song. And again, I find that's something they love doing, and it's something a bit different from writing stories. So I hope maybe I'll be able to in some way encourage schools to make up songs and perform them. So I think drama and music, that's going to be my main mission. But I'd also like to get involved in the whole area of stories for deaf children, partly because I'm a bit deaf myself. I've got hearing aids, and also I absolutely love watching signed stories. Have people here watched stories being signed? It's not just the sign. I can't do the sign language, but it's not just the actual sign language. It's the expressions on the actors' faces. I've seen someone do the Gruffalo on a website, the Signed Stories website, and as well as doing all the signing, the mouse is so sort of wonderfully nonchalant. I think it ties in again with the whole drama and acting thing. So I'd like to do all I can to get more of those signed stories up on the web. I'm actually doing an event at the Leicester Book Festival under the wing of Action Deafness Books, and I'm going to be featuring a book I've written. Actually, it was with Waterstones for an illustration competition, and I wrote a story about a deaf fairy who muddles up children's wishes. So that's another area I'd like to get involved with. Also, I'd quite like to see a few more hearing aids appearing in pictures in books, because I think that's so lovely for deaf children to see children like themselves in books. Right, libraries. Ed Vase has already spoken a bit about libraries, and that's something I care very much about, and I'm looking forward to having more opportunities to speak out about, and against the cuts and the closures, which I see as being so damaging to our children's future, our future adult readers. In fact, in 10 days' time, I'm going to be visiting a library in Galloway in southern Scotland, Whithorn Library. It's 100 years old. What a lovely cause for celebration, except it is under the axe. It's threatened with closure. So I do hope that, of course there's Anthony Gibbons' campaign for the book, so they're much more knowledgeable about all the individual libraries which are under threat. But I just hope to add my voice to all that, and perhaps when I'm visiting libraries, that'll generate a bit more publicity. I'm actually thinking I might like to do a libraries tour where I'll combine the drama thing with the libraries, and I'll invite classes, or the librarians will invite classes in, and those classes will know well in advance, so they will come in and perform something to me. So they might perform a class poem they've written, or perhaps a dramatisation of a picture book, something like that. So that's one of my projects. So right, libraries, drama, music, deafness, all of those things I want to concentrate on. And of course I couldn't do it without all the help and support which you've been hearing about. I've been told actually not to thank anyone, but you all know who you are, and I'm feeling very thankful to you all. And I'm particularly, again, I'll finish where I began, I'm feeling very much in awe of my predecessor. So I'm actually going to finish with a little ditty that I've written about them. All right. What's this we hear? Has there been some mistake? The role first assumed by the august Quentin Blake, the torch that was borne by the second in line, the refreshingly bold and outspoken Anne Fine, then passed to the Libra-born Michael Morpurgo, see, I've done a bit of research, is going to be held by a Scotland-based Virgo. Does she really assume that she's equal to tackling the issues addressed by the illustrious Dame Jacqueline? That was the hardest one. I thought Michael Morpurgo was going to be hers, but Jacqueline Wilson was really... She says that she's planning to put lots of shows on, but how could she rival the great Michael Rosen? And how can they possibly hand her the crown when she can't play the shape game like Anthony Brown? Yes, it's all very strange. It's extremely peculiar. The new children's laureates, this woman called Julia. Thank you very much.